Welcome everyone to our weekly Zoom. Today's topic, how to launch your own NFT. Hi Zita, hi Hallie. I see we have some familiar faces who have been joining us each week, and I'm so glad that you have. We've progressively been going through what is an NFT, what is Web3, what is blockchain, how is it useful, how do you invest, how do you collect, how do you sell, and now, how do you get in the game yourself as a creator? So on that note, I'm going to share my screen and let us dive in. We will, of course, have plenty of time at the end for questions. Okay, so welcome. This is our friends and family edition. We always say, WAGMI. WAGMI is we're all going to make it. And yes, you are. The fact that you are here today, thank you for spending your time with us. All right, how to launch these NFTs? Well, we'll get into that. But first of all, you know the disclaimer, this is not financial advice. Always do your research. We are one data point in all the data points of information out there. So keep looking and finding the advice that makes the most sense for you. Absolutely, your questions are essential. They help everyone. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat as I'm going through, and I'll go back through those at the end. Or you can just share the question in real time at the end of this, and we'll dive in. Okay, so the good news is in Web3, when you want to launch your own NFT, you don't need millions in capital because in Web3, the best ideas can win, not just the biggest marketing budgets. And that is such a new concept to think about because in Web 2, you had to compete against crazy SEO budgets and strategies and PR machines and influencers, and it never ended what you had to really tackle besides just having a great product or service. Well, in Web3, it's the opposite. It's about how great your idea, your product, your community is, and your community and your idea become your marketing buzz. Oh, I think this is, why is this stuck? There we go. So here are the 5 things to think about when you are looking to launch your own NFT. Number 1, dive in. You're going to look around, you're going to build a roadmap, then you're going to build a team, and you're going to tell a great story. And if you can get these 5 things underway, then you are well on your way to setting yourself up for success. So dive in. What does that mean? Well, it means understanding this new landscape that we're all operating in. From community news to the trends, understanding what are the micro pain points and data that's being shared to the macro pain points of the industry and the macro trends and changes happening from consumer behavior. Really understanding how people are communicating, what's the vernacular they use, what's the language they use. And then also understanding, I have here, the shared wins and losses. Because in Web3, it's not okay to be this outsider who comes in with a slick marketing campaign and a big budget and just expect people to buy something. They want to know that you're in there with them, that you're sharing those wins and those losses, and that you really are a part of the community, not just this untouchable leader. Oh, just a reminder to mute your, thank you. So being a part of the community is essential. And the only way to do that is truly to dive in. And the 2 places to dive in, Twitter and Discord. Both are essential, but both are very different. So Twitter, it's kind of like a first date. Twitter is where you've got some witty, funny quips, you've got some cool data to share, you're really catching people's attention with who you are, what you stand for, and your personality. It really is that first date mentality in 140 characters or less. Whereas Discord, that's where you've been going steady for quite some time. You're sitting in the lounge room and you're having really relaxed, open, honest conversations. You're getting to know all parts of each other in Discord. So Twitter is often the first entry point to go and check out a project, get to know someone, and then Discord is where you end up if you like what you see there, and to really be a part of the dimensions of that culture of a project or a person. The other part to really think about too is meeting your audience where they are. I put here dress for the occasion, meaning just kind of know what is the language, what are the expected behaviors and norms for each, because different platforms do require a different sense of your personality, if you will. As I just mentioned, Twitter versus Discord, same people are there, but they're interacting in different ways. So go where those people are and behave appropriately, basically. But don't discount the other channels like Instagram, because often if you're about to launch something, it's because you've got a great new idea and it's not being done yet, which means your audience most likely isn't already in Web3. And if that's the case, they're probably in Instagram. So do not overlook the power of Instagram to bring that awareness and education to your future core audience, and then use that in the DMs and in stories to lead them into Twitter and Discord, which will inevitably be the channels that you will use the most once your audience is established. So Instagram is still very relevant. And they have recently launched their own NFT marketplace and capabilities, so they will continue to be an important channel as their own capabilities continue to grow. OpenSea, you've got to engage there. That's the #1 marketplace for NFTs. Understand how people are using that marketplace, because when you launch your NFT, chances are that's exactly where you're going to want to have yours connected to, so it can be resold on the secondary market. Poke around, see what is happening, how the floor prices change, the volume changes. Get to know how people are shopping and valuing NFTs that might be similar to yours in terms of the traits, in terms of utility, even the size. You know, understanding, should your NFT have 100 NFTs in the collection? Should it be a one of one? Or should it be 10,000? Heck, maybe it needs to be 90,000. Really take a look at what's happening in this marketplace. There are others, but OpenSea is the largest secondary marketplace. And then CryptoSlam. This is the Dow Jones, if you will, of the NFT world. You can see collection rankings by volume. You can see them by Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Tezos, by currency. You can look them up by the last 24 hours, by all time, by the past week. These are important data points to get a sense of how the general macro industry is trending. Are there huge slumps all over the market? Is there a huge run and everyone's looking to shop and trade a certain kind of NFT? What's trending, what's not, and why? So really make sure that you are having a daily, if not weekly, check-in on sites like a CryptoSlam to stay up to date. All right, look around. As I mentioned with CryptoSlam, who's doing well? Which projects have launched, which have failed, and which have absolutely skyrocketed to the moon? Really understand why that worked or why it didn't. And also understand what changed, because things are moving so quickly here that the best practices from 3 months ago are no longer the best practices today. So finding like-minded projects is essential. You don't need to always recreate the wheel. Look at how they have created their utility or how they have built their community, and take those gold standards and note them down for yourself and make your own playbook built on all those existing learnings that are already there. And again, a great way to understand what's worked, go into their Discord, be a part of their community, and see how they are managing different problems, solutions, milestones, and launches. All right, so a couple of examples that we can dive into when we're looking around. Here are some gold standards to think about as you think about your own NFT project. World of Women. So they created a utility with a royalty and special benefits for certain holders. Now, this wasn't announced during the mint. So when World of Women launched their NFTs, they minted and you got any number of different traits. But after they minted, they announced that if you had these combinations of accessories on your artwork in your NFT, you would receive these different benefits. So on the left in the green circle, you see some gold earrings and a gold necklace. If you had a combination of those accessories on your World of Women, you are now part of the Royalty Club. And by going into their Discord, you would read that the Royalty Club receives a share in the secondary market profits, which is huge because they've done about $250 million in secondary market profits, of which it's shared between artists, the fund, the community, and this Royalty Club. So that right away is an instant value that you're offering your community members. They have some other benefits here for the Investors Club and for the Curators Club that they, again, announced as a part of that special utility. All right, this here is the Monolith. This was a collaboration between Nike and Artifact. So what they did, instead of releasing a traditional mint, you had to already own another kind of NFT, a Clone X. So if you owned a Clone X, you were airdropped a Monolith. Oh, but wait, if you weren't an owner of a Clone X, how could you get a Monolith? Well, you could buy one, but the value is very high because these are very scarce. So the secondary market for these monoliths was anywhere from 5 to 10 ETH. But wait, why do you want a monolith? Well, it just kept revealing itself in different ways. If you had a monolith on a certain day, it opened, and inside of it, you could receive certain NFTs. There'd be an NFT for a Nike sneaker and a vial that might have a designer collaboration in that vial to decorate your new Nike Artifact sneaker. And so these layers of the NFTs just kept revealing themselves. And what's extraordinary is if you are a Clone X holder, you now have multiple NFTs that have tremendous value that you didn't even have to purchase. So let's say you owned that Clone X, great. You would then drop this monolith, which now if you wanted to, you could sell for quite a substantial amount of money, or you could hold it, and then it revealed sneakers and vials. And now you've got 3 NFTs that you didn't purchase. That's a tremendous amount of value and utility for that holder. They can keep them and those values are going up, or they can sell them and they've made immediate money through the secondary sales. And another example, oh, there we go, books. Why on earth do I have a picture of books when I'm talking about NFTs? Well, this is one of the best use cases I've seen that bridges the real world products with Web3. Gary Vaynerchuk has authored a number of books, and this was his latest one last year. It was called 12 and a half. And he simply announced that for every 12 copies you buy, you would receive an NFT just for free. So if you can verify that you purchased 12 copies on Amazon during a 24-hour window of time, you are airdropped an NFT. He sold 1 million copies of this book in 24 hours, and it's now the fastest selling book in a 24-hour period in our US history. What's also incredible was that NFT became something of a ticket. It is a digital ticket that gave you entry into Gary V's events. And because he's a notable celebrity with motivation and entrepreneurial insights and brings interesting guest speakers, you can imagine that those events that he hosts are valuable tickets to get a hold of. So the value of those tickets today, in fact, right now, one of his biggest events, VCon, is about to take place. You can only go to VCon if you have one of those NFTs. And to buy them, they're about $20 or $1,000. So they're about 10 ETH. And I think this is an exceptional use case for how any product, whether it's a book, a loaf of bread, shoes, you name it, cars, boats, you can use NFTs to your advantage to create value that could never have existed in Web 2. All right, build a roadmap, stage 3. So these are very simple questions to ask, but they're often the hardest to answer. You have an idea, you want to launch this product, you think about the NFTs that can go with it. But let's go back to the very beginning. Why does this need to exist? Why does your idea matter? And really think about how you can crystallize that answer in its simplest form. Who will care about this? Great, so you've answered why it should exist. Who is it existing for? Think about the problem that you are solving in doing that. So if I think about Mavion, for example, why does Mavion, our NFT, exist? Well, because our NFTs are solving problems that Web 2 couldn't. We are uplifting, supporting, and protecting independent designers who can't scale scarcity on their own. If they make 50 earrings, those 50 earrings in the real world are gone and sold. They have to go back and make more. But with NFTs, we can scale scarcity. So we exist to scale scarcity and provide a livelihood for those independent designers to drive more revenue beyond just those 50 pairs of earrings. And the NFTs can do that. Well, who cares about this? I can tell you right now, and I'm sure Andrea can attest, our independent designers care about this. This absolutely solves major pain points for them in their business. And the other stakeholder, consumers. Consumers don't want to keep buying the same mass-produced, factory-made fashion. They're looking for newness. So we believe that they will also care about this. Okay, so then the third part of it is, what is the story or common goal that unites us? It's great to have a problem that you're solving, but you've got to have a mission behind it that will really rally and connect your audience on both sides so that they can support something together. Because that's when you create movements, and movements are when you create huge wins in your business. And that will help outline your roadmap. Because the roadmap that comes next, you will be absolutely held accountable to. In Web3, your audience, your holders, they see every part of your business and they have big voices, some louder than others, and they want to know exactly what you're doing, when, where, why, and how. So having this roadmap where you articulate every part of your growth trajectory and the milestones you plan to hit is essential. So be prepared to deliver against your roadmap with absolute specific results. It's okay if you don't hit a milestone, but it's about transparency and communication so that your audience understands how and why and what you're going to do to solve for any changes to that roadmap. And sometimes those changes were unexpected, and sometimes they were absolutely necessary for the success of your product. So you can see here, we have a very specific roadmap for the mint. We had planned to have a long, slower mint so that we could onboard and educate new people into Web3. And so we highlight here at each stage of the mint, as we sell through 35% of it, what are we doing? We're investing in our community. We're having a Mavion pop-up for the summer to educate and connect people to come together. And that's exactly what we're doing. June 20 to June 24, we'll be at NFT NYC, bringing together not only our Mavion holders, but all those who are still curious and providing nonstop programming, education to help anyone who's curious, particularly women in Web3 and NFTs. At 50%, we'll be hiring. In fact, we've actually hit some of these goals ahead of time, and we've already hired what we consider to be the world's best community manager and now marketing manager, Hallie. Woo! We've got great mods, Zita, who's on the call here, and a partnerships manager, Amada, who joins us now from California. So we are really excited to share with our community as these milestones keep hitting to show that we are a team that has set out a reasonable roadmap and that we are achieving exactly what we said we would do. All right, building that team. It doesn't matter what your brand, product, or service is. There are 4 essential pillars that you need to cover off on in your team. And if you're someone who can do all 4, then great. Maybe your team is just one person. But if you're not, and chances are you're not, because I don't know who that magical unicorn is, you will need a team. So community management, first and foremost, everything you do in NFTs is based on the community that you bring in. So having resources dedicated to communicate with them effectively, to share your brand messaging, and to be there for that ongoing support. This is a global entity that you are launching. You are going to need resources to be there at all different times and days. This is not a 9-to-5 job. This is a 24/7 gig that is rewarding, but make sure that you are resourced to support that. Brand building. You've got to have a very clear articulation of your brand. What do you stand for? What is the messaging of it? And think about it in its simplest forms again. Everything in Web3 is so confusing already. There's already a lot of new language to wrap your head around. So figure out the brand that you're communicating to make it easy for people to relate to, connect to, and tell others about. Everything you do in brand building is actually not for you to tell people, but for people to tell their people. So arm them with the assets, the knowledge, the brand messaging, and the feelings to go and share with their friends and circle as well. You do need a tech and development team. There's a tech component to this. Smart contracts, digitizing your assets, minting things to the blockchain, creating your website, creating regular communications, whether it's through email, the ongoing support that you will need from your tech and dev team. One person can do it, or you could outsource it from an agency. It really depends on your project. And of course, design and copy. This is the aesthetic that we need. This is a very visual platform. So making sure that you have great artwork, great design, copy that, as I mentioned before, is easy to understand and regularly updated to engage with all of your stakeholders. Okay, and last but not least, tell a great story. Tell an epic story. This is your chance. I don't believe that there is a land grab in Web3. There is more than enough real estate in the NFT space. But what is going to make somebody want to come to yours over somebody else's? So that great story needs to be told in 3 different segments. The first is pre-launch, then your launch, and then post-launch after you've minted and sold out. Let's go through each one. So pre-launch, you need to tell a great story. And this is the time when you're diving deep about your product. What is it that you do? The history. Who are you or your team? What have you done before that makes you the right person or people to do this? What unique stories or experiences can you bring to the table? Not just your resume, but actual stories of your experience. Is there a funny moment where it crystallized for you that this was a necessity, or that things had to change, or this problem could be solved? Create a history that is meaningful and exciting for people to read about and learn about. Your vision, where are you headed? You're going to do this. And what happens when you do? What is that payoff in a year and in 5 years? That big vision that gets everyone rallying behind this movement that you are creating with your NFT. What is the utility? What's the benefit? Is it an immediate benefit that I start to get discounts or access? Is it a utility that I can be a part of something that I wouldn't normally? Is the utility coming in 1 month, or is it coming in 12 months? There are no wrong answers, but you need to tell that as part of your story, so it's very clear to people what the expectation is. Your team, introduce your team. If you've brought on people with unique backgrounds who are living in different countries or have had different experiences, tell that. And of course, the artwork. There's a visual to every NFT. Whether you're an artist, you're in fashion, you're in rocket science, it doesn't matter. There's an artwork component that goes to this. You don't have to have fine art. You don't have to have pop art. It could be anything. But what is the story of your artwork? All right, so the launch, you've told the story, you've got people excited. What's the story now that you're ready to launch? Well, it's a very important story. You shift gears a little bit, but now this is the story of the mint. What are people going to expect? What do they need to know? What's the education that you need to provide? Are there materials in advance? Is there training in advance? Are you having a series of calls, Twitter spaces, in real life events to educate and get people ready? What are some how-tos? What should they know to make sure that they are set up for success during the launch of your NFT? Are there going to be opportunities for early access and pre-sale? And who are the partners? Who are you aligning with as you launch who will also spread this message? Are they other NFT projects? Are they influencers? Is it media? Are they experts in your field? Making sure that you have partners to spread this message, support, and validate the launch as it's happening is a crucial part of your epic story in this phase. And finally, post-launch. Great, you've sold out. The NFTs are now living safely, we hope, in everyone's wallets. What are you telling now? The delivery. You set out a roadmap. You told people what you're doing. Now continue to tell the story on how you are delivering against those milestones. Fun stuff, contests, content, perks. What is it that makes people feel engaged, that they can meet each other and be a part of your movement every day, if that's how they want to interact, or if they want to come in and pop into your space once a month? What keeps them feeling like they are a welcome member of your community? Constantly providing those celebrations for your milestones as you hit them. No milestone is too small in Web3. Make a big song and dance when you hit 1,000 people in Discord. Celebrate when you hit 5,000 in Twitter. These are all exciting moments to show that your community is growing. All right, the real secret to success in Web3. This is it. Like, you've got those 5 pillars, you know what's going on, but the real secret, it really comes down to this. It's always, always about what can you give, not what can you get. The greedy, big fat cats of Web 2 are not welcome in Web 3. The idea that you are a brand that people should come to because you have a big marketing budget and fancy events, that's left behind in Web 2. In Web 3, it's about what did you do to help somebody else, to collaborate, to partner, to educate others? How did you widen the circle? How did you improve somebody's life? And how did you make them feel better? So if you think about that at every turn, you'll be setting yourself and your team up for constant success. All right, I'm going to pause there for us as we go through any questions, and we'll go through the chat. So feel free to, sorry, let's stop the share here. Okay, feel free to unmute if you have a question, and I'm going to go through the chat here as well. All right, is anybody working on an NFT project?
Hi, Michelle. My name's Jessie.
Hi, Jessie.
Hey, I have a quick question. I'm not currently working on a project. I'm really interested. So I've been in the Web3 space for about a couple months. And so I've been in Twitter and some Discords and have, Mavion was one that I came across, my BFF. So like a lot of those really big projects that have a really amazing mission around like onboarding new people to Web3, especially women and non-binary folks. And something you mentioned about kind of, starting a project and building a community, but as someone who's like really brand new to the space, like how do you build credibility if you're like, you want to start a project, but you haven't been in the space, and so you don't have like anything to kind of point to and say, yes, I've done this before and I've been successful. Like, would you recommend someone like trying to work with other projects first just to kind of get, some experience like in the space, or more like partner with people, like have people on your team who have had experience? Like, what do you think is like a good strategy for like getting into the space and not turning people off because you haven't done anything yet?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question, Jessie. Thank you. So the great thing here is you don't have to have experience. The space is so new that you're not right now in these golden years of getting started held to, well, do you have 6 years experience? What's your resume? It really comes down to, do you have something interesting and of value to contribute? What I would say though is let's establish that. Let's say you've got this great idea and you've got this awesome solution to a product. To go and start building a community, you've got to really understand where they are, where they're at. What are their pain points? So one of the first and easiest ways to connect with a community is to show that you are one of them. You know, hey guys, I know that doing this is really difficult in this field. I've been there, I've done that. Here was my story, and that's why I made this to make it better. That exists in Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3, relatability. So really articulating the pain points that your current community might be feeling is essential. And what's really great is right now, we are all faced with the same pain point, which is understanding what an NFT is. So if you just go out and speak to your audience, like, hey, let me tell you what NFTs are doing. That is step one, and it's a big, big step to make people trust you, to make people feel like you understand where they are at in their journey, and you're going to catch them at the right time. So I really would distill down to a list of pain points. What do you think your core audience is suffering from right now that you could go and provide a friendly solution for? And then just start going and deliver on that.
That's helpful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I say this a couple of times a week in various calls, but honestly, we're given a gift right now. Everyone is looking for an NFT buddy. If you are the first to put your hand up and say, I will be your NFT buddy, and whether it's a small group that you do in person or it's some Zooms that you offer family and friends, go and be that person to build the bridge and bring them over into Web3 and share your knowledge in a very credible and trustworthy fashion. This window will close in 12 months' time. Everyone's going to know it. The media is going to be all over it. Every brand will have NFTs, but no one forgets their first friend, you know? So go and be that first friend.
I would also add that, you know, start even within your own community where you're at. I'm sure there are other people who could be either working with NFTs or in Web3 and, you know, or are wanting to learn more about NFTs, and you could be that person to educate. I think, you know, building community can start at any place, anywhere, in any shape or form, whether it's in real life or virtual. It really is just kind of diving in there and determining, like, you know, who is that person that you want to speak to, and, you know, finding out where they are.
Let me ask you all, if you are, you know, if you're someone who's sitting there thinking, gosh, I really would love to get into this, what's the biggest barrier that you're feeling that you face right now? Is it resources? Is it time? Is it knowledge? You can either say it or just feel free to throw it in the chat. Yep, resources, knowledge. Yep, a bit of everything. Okay. Yep. Okay. So I'd say actually Bible idea, yes. Yep. Okay. I would say in terms of resources, there's actually a lot out there, but I do hear you. It's not this easy, you know, you can't just Google, find me a developer team. So I know that can be a challenge. But you can go and ask others whose project you like and ask them who their dev team is. Most people don't have an in-house dev team. We certainly didn't. And I'm going to tell you right now, we had somebody lined up and we were working with them through December, January, thought it was great. Something happened. They were offered actually an incredible deal because developers are in high demand, and had to leave abruptly. We had 6 weeks to launch. And I thought, my goodness, what are we going to do? So I took my own advice. I reached out to Sarah Bauman, the founder of Women and Weapons. We had been friendly in DMs and we had spoken a few times before. I asked her, who'd you use? Who was your dev team? And she told me right away, and she connected me within 3 minutes. And now we had a world-class dev team. So DM people, ask them. You'll be amazed at how willing they are to share their resources, their experience, if it was good or bad, so that you've got someone to go to next.
Michelle, another thought is resources could also mean money. So, it may not just mean resources in the form of like a dev team. So I'm not sure if anyone was putting that out there as far as funding.
Okay, so let's talk about funding. So with a lot of these dev teams, you don't need to pay for them upfront. They take a percentage of your mint. So they will assess if you have a viable idea. If they believe in your idea, then they will take you on, and you don't pay anything. It comes out of the mint proceeds as it's happening. So definitely know that you can be in the driver's seat to focus on build the community, build your idea, and find the right dev team who believes in your idea, and then work on an agreement like that.
I would love to ask a question.
Sure. Hi.
Awesome. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
I'll go quickly because my kids may pop up. But I think that, so a couple of girlfriends and I, we love the space. We're thinking about a project, something small scale initially. I think for us, the biggest in this market, especially right now, you're seeing so many amazing projects not make it, right? Or take a long time to mint out, or how do you overcome that fear, or what are some things that you can do outside of the amazing tips that you've already shared to kind of push through that? It's smaller collection, maybe just start slow and steady.
I would suggest always set your own milestones of success. Minting out fast isn't always success. I have just been in a forum with a number of female founders who had 10,000 collections of NFTs sold out within a day or two, and it's the wrong community. So now they're spending months cleaning house with the wrong kinds of people who are not valuing the project, wasting their small team's time of resources to communicate what they're doing, and these people are now undermining and undercutting the value of the NFT. So I'd say right off the bat, the mint can take as long as you want it to take, and as long as it takes to get the right people in there. So I think have a very clear expectation of that phase of what success looks like. We're very comfortable with a many month mint. I want all 5,000 NFTs going to people who love fashion, love the idea of educating women in the space, and want to be a part of this bridge that connects virtual and physical fashion together. If you're a guy who's a gamer, who's looking for something else, we're probably not the one for you. So get that clear first. I'd say the other piece is to model out your cash flow based on that mint, because that will also give you peace of mind. The reality is that once you start minting, you are now a company, so you need that capital to sustain what you've got going on. So model out how long that mint's going to take. If it's 2 weeks, if it's 6 months, set those sales targets, if you will. We need to have minted X number by these dates, because the cash flow will look like this. And you've then got a calm plan for how you're going to pay your team or grow your team in those ways. So that's traditional business modeling there, but it still applies in Web3. And then I'd say make sure that you remain open and very flexible to opportunities that come up, because things are just changing so quickly. You may end up launching a second NFT before you even mint out your first. And that's okay too. There's no rule to say that you're supposed to mint one and then do a second. Things are just changing. So I think having a very agile ability in these early days with a young, energetic team will be key to capitalizing on these opportunities, because they're just going to pop up. You're going to find that if you do this well, partners you didn't know will come to you and say, oh, can we do this? Like, oh, well, we hadn't thought about doing a book. I guess we should do it. Yes, let's do a book. Okay, let's do a book. So yeah, just kind of staying flexible in that way. Did that answer your question?
It did. Thank you so much. Staying flexible, model, out your cash flow, and minting fast does not always equal success.
Definitely not. Yes.
Thank
In fact,
you.
I know of one that I'm trying to help her right now. It's costing them more money because it's the wrong community. So I really can't overemphasize that enough. Get your right people, because then once you've got them, you'll be flying. You'll absolutely be flying.
And Michelle, I love how you wrote here, we make our own rules, because I think that is really like a space where you should have your mindset, is because this is really wide open. And you can look at last year as the year of the art NFT, this year being like the year of the the PFP, and what is it going to be next? And I think like utility will be the future of NFTs and is now, but think about how your NFT, how you're going to execute it. There's so many different projects out there that you can look at. I look at Hug as an example of a really unique and really, amazing way of launching their NFT, where you're launching, if you get a pair that matches, 2 NFTs that match, you get a utility from that match. So there's so many different ways that you can think about an NFT collection. And I love that you're thinking about breaking or making your own rules.
In terms of resources, oh, hi, Elena. I'm going to just finish this real quick. Also, sharing resources is totally a thing. So we have a great mod, the Dividend Boss. He also works at Boss Beauties. So, we're all in this together, building, sharing. Don't worry about sharing actual people. I know, he is amazing. He's like such a good human. Dividend Boss. Elena, what's your question? Hi. Or something to share?
Yes. First of all, thank you so much for doing this. I'm excited to be in the space with you. If you remember, we met at Luminary, and
I do. I feel like the color blue came up for me when I just saw you on screen. Were you wearing like a big bright blue jacket or bag? There's something like, yes.
You're fashion. You notice these things. Yeah.
It's good to see you, Elena.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm excited to be here. I actually bought my first NFT with Marion, so it's like with Mavion. So it's I'm excited to be part of this community with you. And I'm thinking about how I can step into this space for myself and be a creator. My background, I spent many years in finance on Wall Street. Then I had my spiritual awakening, and it brought me to be a spiritual coach, an empowerment coach for women. And I started to build a community on Instagram, but I've been asking my community if they're into NFTs or anything like that. And no one is, like, no one knows this space at all, at least in my community, like no one knows. But I have this vision, like I do have this vision. It comes to me at night that I want to do this. And like, even my brand is like visionary. I have like these big ideas, but I need to bring them down. And I do have attention to details because I have this background on Wall Street and I'm very, very organized. But I think I'm looking for someone who can to put a viable idea into the action. Like, is there a consultant that I could hire? Like, is there somebody like who can really help me get to that finish line? Because I think I have an artist. I think I have a great idea. I do have community on Instagram. I don't know how to bring this all together.
Okay, 2 things. Oh, and Sophie also seconds that. Yes, there are incubators, Meta Angels, and the Hug are 2. There's a few more that are basically taking like applications. Tell them your idea, pitch what you've got going on, and they are providing mentorship, incubator style programs. You're going to see more of those pop up. They're just two that I regularly see. I'm sure there's more. The second thing I would suggest is we would love to help. So June 20th to 24th, we have a creators morning that we're doing, and you can book a 20-minute session, because I hear you. I mean, Andrea and I, that's it. Like we feel that pain for you. You know, we were there in 2020 at Techstars thinking about like, how do we bring these things to life? And, you know, it would have been amazing to have somebody be like, oh, let me show you some gold standards, best practices. Have you thought about this? And like, just have some personalized attention on exactly what your idea is trying to achieve, and provide that personal sounding board. So make sure you've signed up at mavion.world on our site. We're announcing the schedule and all the registration links, and there'll be a whole morning dedicated so that you can book a session.
Beautiful. Are you going to be at Luminary as well, or are you doing it separately?
Oh yeah,
we're going to be at Luminary.
Yeah. Like, to add to what Michelle was saying, we're not just going to be at Luminary, we're going to be taking over Luminary for the entire week. We'll be there from the 19th to the 24th. Okay. So this really will be a week's worth of workshops, and our blockchain bar will be there throughout the day. You know, we will be scheduling one-on-ones, we'll be doing panels, we'll be bringing in other NFT founders, we'll be doing brunches, cocktail parties, specific events just for Mavion holders. So if you want to join those, you can still mint. We'll be having minting parties. So it's going to be the place to be for NFT NYC. So definitely all of those events will be going up on our website, I think, by early next week.
It will. In fact, I'm going to show you guys. You're the first to see it. I'm totally being cheeky here. I'm going to screen share so you can see who our confirmed speakers are, because it's pretty, and we actually have more than this. So we are going to be we're open to everyone, but definitely for women. We've got incredible guest speakers who are coming, lots of, as Andrea said, panels, workshops, cocktail parties. We're going to be there for the whole week. Come say hi.
And I also want to answer the question. This will definitely be everywhere at Luminary. You know, they are helping to, you're also going, you can be registering there. All of their members are going to be invited. They'll be promoting all of this as well. So you will see, you know, things in the newsletter about this. We're calling it the Movement with Mavion and Luminary. And, you know, the movement meaning that, you know, this is part of our mission to get more women on the blockchain.
I'll be there. Thank you so much
Woo.
for the.
We'll basically be camping there. Andrea and I will be there from like 9 a.m. till midnight, I'm sure, every single day.
Yeah.
With our team.
And not only that, you know, Elena, when you saw us in Luminary, it was just Michelle and I. We will also be there with our amazing team. So Hallie will be there. Dae Young will also be there. Val is going to be there. Amada. Yeah. I'm wondering if mods.
I know, Zita, are you going to be there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe you can drop it in the chat. I know she's a little further away. So.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, as are we. Like I just want to like give everyone whatever we can so that you are ready to go on your way. All right, we have a couple minutes left. If there are any other questions or things you just want to share. All right, well, look, it's
Michelle, I have like a thought. Because this might be something that nobody has thought about, which is when it comes, and now that we have also have Dae Young here with us, when it comes to the artwork, you know, I think, you know, our recommendation of, you know, when we were working on the Mavion NFT, we were really intentional about what it was that we were building. And the way that an NFT is built is through so many different layers. And every single one of those layers and traits we looked at as part of a building block of what our company business model was built upon. So the background that you see behind Michelle is not just, you know, like a gorgeous background or flowers. This is actually could be a partnership with a company to create wallpapers, you know. And so every trait that you see in a Mavion NFT was really intentionally thought about and incorporated into like the business that we are building. And so that's something, you know, that I just wanted to add, because some people don't really think about, they think about just creating this amazing artwork, but actually the intention behind it can mean more than the actual piece of art.
It's a good point. Like, think about those quote unquote Easter eggs you can build into your NFT so that it gives you options to expand and grow your business later on. So whether it's through the artwork, maybe there's a symbol in the artwork that you want to activate, you know, in a year's time, you know, that can be a very strategic way to use your beautiful art to achieve even more. All right, well, everyone, thank you so much. We've got, next week is a little bit different of a Zoom event. We're doing our minting party. So the minting party next week, we have special guests. We have Hello Sunshine, Cassie Sagehorn, who is the head of crypto and content, is joining us. We've got Rebecca Minkoff, the designer, who'll be joining us. And we have a special TikTok guest who I can't wait to reveal as well. There's plenty of giveaways, quizzes. Come with your wallets ready to mint, ready to have some extra surprises and bonuses in store. Our whole team will be there. Bring your friends. Like, this is going to be a Zoom party with some fun twists. All right, well, everyone have a great end of the week, fun evening. Good luck as you're building out your NFT projects. Good luck as you are minting. Stay safe out there. We'll see you back here, same time, same Zoom link.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.